Good afternoon, gamers and gamettes, and welcome to Not So Hardcore Gaming, Episode 3. Today, I will be on my own again. However, next week I will be with Blaze as a co-host again. Keep an eye out for that. But today's topic is Subnautica, a game I think is very well loved in the community, and one that I have wanted to talk about for a while. So, enjoy. So, to start, the story for this game I find is rather in depth to a degree. Unlike a lot of games, it's not as prominent as with most you would find. However, I think the way that this is done is exceptional for the type of game it is, because what you're doing is exploring this alien world, which obviously you're stranded on, you're in the thick of it, fighting for your life and trying to figure out what has happened and to get off the planet. So the way that the story is designed around that, honestly, I don't think it could have been done any better. There's a lot of past structures and alien technologies that you want to discover and investigate and find out what their purpose is, and it makes adventuring around the planet to be a wonderful experience. The design for the alien world is exceptional. There is so much that you can see a resemblance to what we have here on Earth, and you can still see the alien parts of it very prominently. And then, of course, you have a previous crew which got stranded on the planet, and while you're going around here and you start to find these places, it really solidifies the planet as an object in the story. It feels more real because you are shown that you're not the only one that this has happened to. And having that ancient level human habitation while so close to other alien structures is beautiful. The amount of contrast between the two is great fun to discover as you go along, and having those habitats containing technology that help you with your own survival is very handy, rather convenient, but it makes you more inclined to go and find those places. It gives you more reason to build these other ships that will get you there, and it lets you, having to go around and collect all the resources, you still discover new things, and it is really cool. Then, for example, you will have the other lifeboats of other survivors that landed on the same planet from the same crew as you. The fact that it has that happening while you've got all the older structures, it shows how things have rather changed quite a bit on that planet. And because you've got 3 completely separate times that you are looking into, it is a fascinating topic to me. Like, as similarly with time travel, is seeing the exact same habitat with the history of it sprouting up while looking at the present is just really rather well done. especially for this game. And the fact that you can see these, like the rust and things like that, it makes it seem quite realistic, which is always good. And I think the design for that could not have been done better. Onto the gameplay side of things, this is there's not really any combat in this game, which is good, though I do love combat games. You yourself are pretty much forced to be a peaceful and this peaceful and passive creature. It makes the exploration slightly scary in some places, such as around the Aurora, where you have the Reaper Leviathan, who is exactly as friendly as he sounds. It adds a good degree of difficulty to the game because you have to be able to not just go in the direction you need to go, but you have to watch out for this creature who is hell-bent on killing you. And it really, really plays into the alien planet that there are these highly evolved creatures who can and will attack you on sight, and there's damn near nothing you can do about it for the big ones unless you are really tenacious and you have a stasis rifle with you. But that, again, the gameplay itself is more adventuring, mining, crafting, and just unveiling the mysteries that you need to so that you can get back home. And for a game that has to look into this past and has to be created around this story while making it alien is quite well done again. And I'm going to be saying this a lot, but it is perfectly done. The gameplay, I guess it's as simple as that for me saying it. Onto the visual and audio devices, the creatures are created really inventively for a design where you have to have a lot of different animals, where you can kind of see how they would be like it is here on Earth, but still having that evolutionary trait which just makes them completely alien, would have taken a lot of work and a lot of great minds to come up with all these ideas. And you feel the same level of love that you would expect from such a small project. This wasn't done by a particularly large company, and they spent years fully developing the game. And as I go through it, I can feel every ounce of love they poured into that. And the audio that matches with it is frighteningly effective. You've got the incredibly loud roars from the leviathans, and then you've got just the little sounds like the whales there, the reefbacks. The way that they are designed all fit to their creature really well. It's exactly what you would expect to come out of that creature, and I cannot give that aspect enough love. The music from it I also very much love. It's fairly simplistic, and there are not a lot of different music compositions, I guess, but there are the perfect amount, and they fit into the gameplay brilliantly. There's this faster paced music from when you're about to be eaten to as you go to the deepest parts, the music slightly shifting, and it is not prominent, the music, but you do get it, and it all fits to the scenario that you are in. And I think that needs credit, because some games, they have this really cool music, but they just play it at the wrong time and it doesn't fit. But for me personally, I think this fits perfectly. The creature design now, there is a lot of different creatures. I'm going to talk about a few of them specifically because, admittedly, I need to stretch this out to take a bit longer. But there are a lot of good designs to talk about. So beginning, for example, the peepers, they're quite alien in the best way possible. They're specifically strange. Their eyes take up most of their body. They have a little beak instead of a mouth, no visible gills, that type of thing. And honestly, they're quite cute. And I think that adds to it. My favourite creature design would probably have to be the cuttlefish. Now, this little guy is the cutest thing you will ever see, and I want one. They are a beautiful creature. They're not just passive, they're actually friendly. And they have little tentacles which they use. You can do high fives with them, you can give them treats and they take them off you, that type of thing. They're just made perfectly as a pet to have in the game. They're hard to find and well worth it. One of the ones that you can find is in the middle of 4 Reaper Leviathans territories, and I have no regrets going there to go and get him. This is one that I just cannot stress enough. I love. Then, if we want to go for a rather aggressive creature, the one I have mentioned many times, Reaper Leviathan. This thing is massive. It is a large eel, swims through the oceans at you. He has 4 massive pincers attached to his head and grabs you with them and starts gnawing at you. It will break vehicles in no time at all. And even if you've watched playthroughs of the game, when you first encounter him, you still get the crap scared out of you. And that is beautiful. If you know when something is going to happen, but it still makes you jump, it's got to be good. Absolutely got to be. Next, you would have the Sea Dragon Leviathan, and I'm going to talk about all the Leviathans because they're all done really well. The Sea Dragon is even bigger. It is, I think, the second biggest in the game, maybe third behind Reefbacks, but it is, according to the lore of it and the scans, it actually eats Reaper Leviathans. So you can imagine how scary this thing must be. It will spit massive magma balls at you. It loves to give you a good hard slap. And even in the common game, it can clip through walls, which, sure, you could call that a bug, but at the same time, I think it just adds to how terrifying this thing is. It has 4 big tentacles, I think, which help it swim through the water. And that's about it that I can say for it. But again, designed beautifully, still incredibly intimidating no matter how many times you see it, and you want to get away from it immediately. The next one is the Ghost Leviathan. Now, this is one of my favorite animal designs in any game. This thing is gorgeous. It is, again, massive, significantly bigger than the Reaper Leviathan itself, and through the entire game, I think there's 5 of them. So they are rare, but still, you don't want to get near one of them. But in certain zones, you can be attacked by 3 of them, and that is not pretty. It is a large eel-like fish again. It translucent skin. It has bone structure which glows, and it has the biggest mouth you would ever see. Don't want to be around that. Hell nah. The thing I have failed to mention is the sounds it makes. Firstly, the Reaper Leviathan, which I think I forgot too, they have a very powerful roar. You can hear it from a long distance away through the water, and it will scare you every time, no matter what. The Sea Dragon Leviathan doesn't have as much noise, really, but the noises it makes are more powerful, fit into the size. The Ghost Leviathan, though, has probably my favourite sound design for it. It's not just a roar, it's kind of a wail. Kind of how you would hear from a banshee, similar to that. So fits with the name of the Ghost Leviathan. It is this creature which we wouldn't be surprised if it genuinely was a ghost, even though it's not. And I think that is awesome and equally terrifying. And now we come across my equal favourite character in the game, the Sea Emperor Leviathan. These are the biggest creature you'd ever see, and the fact that the ones you come across are passive or friendly is, to me, I find it very fascinating that the biggest and most potentially dangerous creature is actually one of the friendliest. And the story revolves around this creature. And the one that you meet has psychic powers and actually speaks to you through the game, which I love. I really do love it, because it also still has sounds that the animal makes itself, but the fact that it communicates with you and connects with you on a greater level, it really warms my heart every time, and I love looking at it, watching the same playthroughs again. This creature just always melts my heart. The fact that you then help them to hatch their young ones is one of the sweetest moments in any game I've seen, watching them hatch and watching them interact with their mother. It really makes them feel more real, because you feel the love that they impart upon their young, and how much determination they had to keep their young safe and alive. The moments can be a bit heartbreaking, and I won't say too much more. It can be quite sad, but it's still always... It just brings a little pain to my heart, but in a good way, oddly enough. So those are the main creature designs I wanted to talk about, because they're my absolute favourites with them. And obviously I saved the Sea Emperor for last, because that is actually a core element for the story. I know the game has been out for a long time now, however, I still don't want to say everything about the story, because for those who haven't played it, I want them to have a chance to play it and experience it for themselves, though I may have given some things away. But yeah, I had to take a while to talk about the design because of how much work they put into it. If they've put as much work as they have into creature design, I'm going to put a lot more effort into talking about the creature design. Moving on to another part of the game is the building options. Now, the futuristic technology that you come across through the game and that you create, I love. I love to think if one day we could build that type of thing. Obviously, scientifically, there's probably many impossibilities to it, but still cool to think about. There are many different types of rooms you can build. Then you've got different power supplies like a reactor or solar panels and everything in between. And the fact that you can also build plants and grow alien life in it. Just a very simple thing like that adds a lot to the game and decorates the house quite well. And I love to see all the different options. You could go and build 10,000 different complexes, and all of them can be completely unique just from the amount of different buildings types you can build, as well as actual power sources or decorations that you can hang up around it. There is an infinite amount of possibility for you, and that is one thing that I will always love, is having the option to do things in weird and wonderful ways. I think I want to finish this episode talking about the fan base. And wouldn't normally be doing this for other games, but because of how much of an impact this game has made on its fan base, I feel it has to be recognized just how much this game is loved. For example, three main YouTubers, I think actually Jacksepticeye and Markiplier are two that introduced me to this game. Now that they are some of my favorites to watch, and I found because of the amount of love that they showed this game, it became infectious and I started to love it, and that's why I ended up getting it. And obviously, aside from those in the public eye, there are a massive amount of people who have played this game and write things online. Like there's a blog style thing where they can come up with their own creature designs and things like that. And the amount of people joining that community and creating for that community is honestly wonderful. It is something that very few games can do to this degree. Everybody who has played this game has positive things to say about it. I haven't heard any negative feelings towards it, and I myself have none whatsoever. There is nothing I can say I genuinely don't like about this game. And that is why when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about it sort of in a rambling way where I will repeat myself many times. It's because I'm just gushing about it. It is probably the most favorite of the simple types of games I've played. Obviously, because there are so many different genres, I've got a lot of favorite games, but this one in particular has grabbed me in a way that no other game has, and I cannot commend that enough. I am also aware that there is another game, I think it's actually a DLC officially, but Subnautica Below Zero coming out. And when I am able to get my hands on that, I will 100% play it, and we'll probably talk about it here as well. Even though it will be a smaller game, I will at least briefly talk about it. But I've said most of what I can say at this point, and I will finish it off by saying, if you are looking for something where you don't have to just go specific places to confirm a story, and you just want to go somewhere and look at stuff in a game, and this is the perfect one for you. You can do anything you want in this game, and it is one that I cannot recommend enough. With all of that said, thank you for joining me today. Next week, I will be having an episode with Blaze, as I said. I look forward to that, and I hope you do too. And this is Not So Hardcore Gaming. I'm Jeremy, signing off.